Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Repeat Ron, and today we're going to be doing kind of a different video. This is going to be kind of a how-to guide as well as a sort of showcase of the basic builds for at least the gunner in this video. I plan on doing these for each of the classes, but we're going to be going over kind of the basics of it because there's a lot of new people getting into Deep Rock, and I feel like it would be a good time to talk about this. And then I'm going to be playing a full solo playthrough on the highest difficulty with this loadout, and hopefully not dying horribly, to kind of show that you can get away with certain things like this even without necessarily overclock. So we're not going to be talking about the overclocks for the weapons right now. For gunner, our first weapon that we get is the Leadstorm powered minigun. This one is a pretty strong starting weapon. It's got good damage, you can stun with it, it's got a lot of bullets, it's got a high rate of fire. Everything about it is a really solid weapon, and it's very easy use for new players. Now, the build that I would recommend, and the build that I'm going to use for this, at least as a basic minigun, and maybe one that you want to build first, there's quite a few different ways to build the minigun. But first up in Tier 1, I'm going to be taking the improved platform stability, although all of these are pretty good in Tier 1, so pick whichever one you'd like. This one I enjoy, though, because it just makes it so the base spread is much smaller, so I'm not wasting extra bullets. In Tier 2, I'm going to go with the oversized drum. This is just for more ammo. This is so I get potentially more damage overall throughout the mission. Although the high velocity rounds are also really good for the minigun and give you more damage per second. So really, either of these are perfectly fine. Take whichever one you would like. In Tier 3, I am going to go with the blow-through rounds. Although once again, all of these are really good. Blow-through rounds are better against hordes. Armor breaking is good against large enemies like Praetorians. And the stun is good against pretty much everything, so any of these are perfectly fine choices. In Tier 4, I'm actually going to go with the lighter barrel assembly. This is for a faster spin-up time. This makes it so I won't have to wait for the minigun to start up, or at least start up as slow as it normally does. This way is a little bit quicker, and I've really been liking this particular mod. The variable chamber pressure is really good if you want to do increased damage, so if you want to do more single target damage, that's a good choice. And the magnetic bearings is also pretty good if you plan on continually firing this. And then in Tier 5, I'm going to go with Cold as the Grave. This is just to keep my gun cool so that my gun doesn't overheat during the firefights. However, Hot Bullets is really good. This makes it so you can burn enemies and catch them on fire, which is pretty useful. And Aggressive Venting is good for anybody that finds themselves kind of overheating the gun or getting the gun really hot a lot of the time. We're not running any skins on it right now, so we're just running the base minigun, no paint jobs or anything. You will unlock paint jobs as you level up this, though, or at least as you unlock these. So once you unlock 3, once you unlock 7, and then once you unlock all of them, you will get all the various skins. The skins are just that. They're just skins. They don't give you any advantage. They just look cool. Same goes with the framework up here. You can really build it however you'd like. These are just cosmetics. They don't actually give you any in-game advantage or anything. For a secondary, we've got the Bulldog Heavy Revolver, which is probably one of my favorite secondaries overall. This is a very strong weapon. It does very high damage, and it's very accurate. This one, just base, without any sort of upgrades, can one-shot headshot grunts, so that's a big plus. It can kill most enemies very fast, and it's very good for picking off enemies like leeches or grabbers or anything like that that want to attack you at a distance. So for this, I'm going to go with the Quickfire Ejector. This is just so that we have faster reloads. It's pretty nice, but the perfect weight balance is also really good if you want to be even more accurate with this gun. I find that the gun is pretty accurate, so I don't take perfect weight balance all that often, but it's not a bad choice. In Tier 2, I'm going to go with expanded ammo bags. This just gives us more ammo. More ammo is always nice with every weapon, although increased caliber rounds is pretty good, and floating barrel can also be quite nice. In Tier 3, I'm going to go with the hollow point rounds. This is just so that we get even more damage on top of our revolver, and when we're hitting stuff in the weak spot, we're probably going to kill it within 1 or 2 shots unless it's something really big, but even then we can still hit it pretty hard. In Tier 4, I'm going to go with expanded ammo bags once again, but the high velocity rounds are a great choice with this too. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going with both the damage increases, at least without any overclocks. They work better with overclocks than without them, but going with one of them is a good choice as well. So going with like 1 ammo, 1 damage, but for this case I'm going to go with both ammos. And then in Tier 3, I'm going to go with the neurotoxin coating. This is just so when I shoot enemies, there's a chance that the creature that I shoot will get the neurotoxin effect, which makes it so they take damage over time and they're slowed down. This can be pretty good. But the Deadeye is also quite good. Makes it so you can run around and you don't get any aim penalty. So you're going to be just as accurate holding still as you will running. Again, I don't really need this, I don't feel, since I'm pretty comfortable with the revolver. But if you do find yourself struggling aiming the revolver, maybe try this out and maybe try out the perfect weight balance. I actually have skins on the revolver. Sorry about that. Got to make it blank. There we go. So that it fits with our minigun. Pickaxe is kind of personal preference as to what you would like, but the pickaxe is a very important part of your equipment. If you're new to the game, definitely don't underestimate the pickaxe. You can get a lot done with just this. So the first and only upgrade that we get in tier 1 is power attack. This makes it so when we, at least on PC, if you right click and then left click, I think on controllers it's left trigger then right trigger. This will cause you to do a power attack, which does very high damage to everything that you hit with it, as well as around you. It has a little bit of an AoE radius. It's not huge, but there is a little bit AoE, so you can hit multiple enemies with this. If it doesn't kill something, it has a very high chance of stunning it, and most enemies, or at least a large majority of enemies, are actually pretty weak to melee attacks, so the pickaxe can do some pretty devastating damage. In tier 2 though, this is really your choice. Serrated blade gives you more damage on the hit, so you can kill big things even quicker, and you're pretty much guaranteed to kill any sort of like medium enemy. So grunts, slashers, I think you can kill guards with this too. Shockwave makes it so you have a little bit larger area effect radius, so you might be able to hit multiple enemies. That can also be good if you want that. And then the better weight balance is usually the one that I pick. This just makes it so that I get my power attack up more often so I can use it, because I use the power attack both for utility and for damage. So I'll use this to mine gold, I'll use this to break open different objects around the map, like the Ebo nuts or something like that, and you can also use it more often to kill bugs. My shield generator, I'm going to be running the usual shield generator that I choose to run, although the full speed shield generator can also work pretty well. So for this, I'm going to go with improved projector. This just gives me a larger shield than normal. Larger capacitors, this makes it so it lasts longer, and then improved efficiency, so it lasts even longer. This way my shield is up for a very long time. I'll have plenty of time to grab a restock from a resupply. I'll have plenty of time to pick up allies. I'll have plenty of time to start objectives if I need to. And with all that time being spent, then I can usually get into a pretty decent position to where I don't need the shield right away again. If you want to go full speed though, that's also another option. Take both the recharge times and then take either lasting effect or the bigger area. Really any of these in tier 3 are fine. And then you get your shield up quicker. You'll be able to throw it out more often. This is better if you want a faster run and gun play style. Then this way it can work pretty well too. For my zipline launcher, I usually go all length on the zipline just so that I can span as much distance as I need to, but going with extra ammo or with the upgraded connector unit is perfectly fine. Upgraded connector joint is good too. So reinforced anchor, so that has longer distance, reinforced cable because it's our only choice and we have more distance, and then increased motor traction. This way it goes faster. You could go with the disconnection protection. This makes it so you don't take as much fall damage. You don't need this if you're going with hover boots as a active skill. So if you're going with that, which I know some gunners like to, so that if they do get knocked off there, they have another way of saving themselves, you can do that. I'm just going to go with the speed. That way we move faster because I don't plan on sitting on the zip lines for too long most of the time. As a grenade, we're going to go with our basic grenade, which is sticky grenade. Very high single target damage, can fear enemies, and it blows up like a normal grenade. Not too much to be said there. And for armor, this is my usual armor setup. I would recommend, if you're a new player, upgrading your armor first, because each one of these that you unlock gives you more health. So in total, you can get another 15 health for unlocking everything in your armor. So I would recommend going for that first, just because more health is going to be good on every class. I go with the bigger mineral bag. This is just so I can carry more stuff. It's a nice quality of life. Some people really like the improved generator, though. I don't know a whole lot of people that use the boosted converter, but if they're out there and you like it, tell me in the comments below. In tier 2, I pretty much always go with healthy. Since I'm going to be playing on higher difficulties most of the time, the enemies are going to be breaking my shield, so I'm not going to get a ton of value out of the overcharger, and the health is just more health than it otherwise would be. So it just makes it so I don't die as often. Tier 3, you just pick whatever's there because it's your only choice. And then in Tier 4, I go with the Breathing Room. This is just so that once I get revived, I have an additional 3 seconds where enemies can't hurt me. So I've got the base 3, and then I've got another 3. So I've got 6 seconds where nothing can really attack me and where I can go to another position. Even if it's just to get downed again, I can still put myself in a better position than what I was. Alright, and then let's talk about the passives and the active skills. Now, you're not going to have access to all of these right away. You will have to level up yourself by doing different missions, and then you'll get access to perks, and then you can buy different perks with those points. You should be able to get the perks pretty fast, though, because there's an excess amount of points that you can get for them. So for passives, we have many options here for Gunner. The first one that I'm going to pick for Gunner is going to be Thorns. Thorns is really useful on pretty much every class, and it's very useful on the higher difficulties. This is just so if enemies do hit you with melee attacks, then they receive damage back. They receive 24 damage. So you can hurt grunts with this pretty well, and you can kill any sort of crawlers, swarmers, anything like that that's trying to get on top of you, any of the jellyfish. It's just a really nice quality of life one, and one that I recommend on pretty much everybody. The second passive perk that I'm going to take is Resupplier. Resupplier is another great perk. I've really been enjoying it recently. This makes it so when you're getting a resupply, you stock up 50% faster, you get bonus health from this, and you reload all of your weapons. Reloading all of our weapons isn't going to matter so much because we can't reload the minigun, so this is only going to affect our revolver and our zipline gun. But it's still something, and the faster resupplies are kind of nice to have. They're not entirely necessary, but they are nice. And then our third passive perk, you could honestly pick whatever you'd like here. All of them have their own pros and cons. Elemental Insulation is great if you're going to a planet where you take passive damage from things. Veteran Depositor is also another choice. You deposit faster and you get damage reduction when standing near Molly, which Gunner isn't necessarily the most mobile of the classes. They're probably one of the least mobile. So that's an option. Sweet Tooth gets you more healing, which is always great. Vampire is an okay option on Gunner, but probably not really one of the best. Strong Arm is another good choice. I think I'm going to take this one. This makes it so I throw flares further. This is just so that I can see a little bit better, see anything, and I throw heavy objects a little bit further. Kind of nice, but really you could pick whatever you want here. All of them are pretty okay. For active perks, one that I am going to take since I'm playing solo is Heightened Senses. This one is really handy to have just because it makes it so I don't get grabbed by leeches, grabbers, trawlers, anything that can incapacitate you by grabbing you. You can break free, and you can do this twice per mission, at least if this is fully upgraded. Field Medic is great if you're playing multiplayer, and I'd recommend it to pretty much everybody because it's just so nice to have, since it's not uncommon for everybody to go down, especially on higher difficulties. So being able to res people faster is always nice, and being able to have the insta-res once per mission is also really nice. For a second perk, I'm going to be taking Dash. Dash is probably, I would say, the best passive perk, or the best active perk in the game, simply because it just lets you get out of bad situations. It's not as good on Scout as it is on all the other classes, but on all the other classes it's pretty nice because every 25 seconds you can dash away from some sort of bad situation. This also overrides any slowdown debuffs that you have. So you can get out of things like goo, you can get out of things like webs, you can get out of things like slashers hitting you that stun you, and it's very useful. Some other perks here that are pretty good. Berserker's good. It gets you high damage. You can do high damage to a single target, or you can kill crowds with it pretty effectively. Shieldling can be good in multiplayer. Iron Will is always good to have somebody on the team running Iron Will just because it's a clutch perk and can potentially save the mission. Beastmaster is a good option too because you can get a Steve and he can fight for you and he'll be drawing attention. Hover boots aren't bad either because you can potentially save yourself, especially if you find yourself falling off of your zip lines. And See You in Hell isn't that bad of an option either, but you do have to go down for it, so hopefully your teammates can pick you up pretty quickly. Or if you're going down a lot, maybe See You in Hell is really good for you. Alright, so we're going to go to the salt pits and we're going to do a egg hunt. We're going to do this solo. We're going to set this to lethal. I should probably also go over Bosco's build, since this is a solo mission and some people might be looking to only play solo, or maybe they're playing solo before they get into multiplayer. For Bosco, we do actually have this skin. I'm going to keep it because I like the barrel Bosco. I go with an extra life. This is just to get me another down if I happen to go down. If you're really good, you are very confident in your ability, you don't need to take this. Take more damage or take faster mining. Both are good. Rockets in tier 2 because that's our only option. Add extra life in tier 3. Again, if you're good, you can go with either of these. They're both fine. I'd probably go with the ammo or the extra rocket count. I'm going with cryo missiles on the rockets, although the armor breaking ones and the fear rockets are also quite good. And then I'm going with the overcharged rounds. This is just so Bosco puts electricity on enemies. That is also pretty handy to have. So let's begin. One other thing that I should mention for everybody that might be new to this, take a look at whatever today's special is in the bar. Today we got pots of gold, which pots of gold makes it so every time that you mine something or every time that you mine gold, you will get extra gold from it, but only if you mine it. So if you blow it up with C4, start doing the EPC farming, you won't actually get any extra gold from that. But always check that and see what the beer actually does. Decide if you want to take it on the mission. Something like Red Rock Blasters is probably one of the best because it gets you bonus HP and it's very cheap. Okay, and we're here. Come on, Bosco.
Alright team, you're going after eggs this time.
Usually the first thing that you want to do is have somebody throw out a flare. Since I'm playing solo, I'm the only one that can throw out a flare. And kind of see what's going on in the first room. Get whatever minerals that you can. There will likely be a couple in the starting room. The most important one, I would say, is Nitra, because Nitra will get you resupplies. So make sure that you get as much of that as you can. If you're playing solo, you can also ping Bosco to go and get different materials. So I see some gold over there. We'll have Bosco get that for us as we just kind of mine here on our little zip line. Put everything in Molly. We need at least 80 Nitra in order to get a resupply. And that's kind of going to be one of the first things that we're looking for. You can also kill loot bugs to potentially get more gold / Nitra if you can bring yourself to do it, because they are adorable. Frankly, I need the Nitra right now, so I don't think I have the biggest problem doing that. If you're new, you also probably want to be switching between your primary and your secondary fairly often. This is just so that you get more value once you do get a resupply. There's actually another treasure up there. It's kind of bad. There we go. Same thing goes with our grenade, especially since we know we have enough for 2 resupplies. We're going to be very liberal with all of our weapons now, since we have no reason not to be. It's always better to use up what ammo that you have and survive than it necessarily is to try to save it and try to go for some plays. We also have a cargo crate here. For me, I pretty much always try to go for the secondary objective, unless it's on certain challenge runs or something, where it's not worth it, or where the game is just not really giving me what I need for the secondary, in which case I'll leave early as well. Okay, I'm going to be trying to get into this main room that we seen earlier. Yeah, this one. Yeah, let's just try to pick him off. You can also ping Bosco to, potentially try to freeze him. Okay, we're going to use our dash to get out of here. And we're going to try to get back to relative safety. Nothing in here is particularly safe, but we can potentially get to someplace a little bit safer than where we were at. Okay. Looks like we got pretty much all that done. Let's go back into that main room. There's still quite a few things that we got to deal with, but it's okay. We're also going to grab some red sugar on the way. If you're ever missing any sort of health, you might as well grab red sugar, unless you're, maybe max health or next to max health. Maybe your teammates aren't doing so great. Then leave them. So any place that's level is where you want to be fighting. If it's all bumpy, if it's all uneven, if there's just a lot of stuff in the way, a lot of clutter, it's probably not one of the better places to fight. You may have to fight in places like that, but it's less than ideal. You want to have mostly level areas. Oh, there's also a pearl here. If you see weird stuff like this on the ground too, that means there's likely something valuable hidden somewhere nearby. In this case, we got a pearl. Sometimes it can be a jadit. Sometimes it can be a cube. Sometimes it can be... Let's see, what else could it be? It could be a bitter gem. Could be a compressed gold. Could be a couple options there. Alright, so...
Go! Get to one!
We're going to kind of hang out here for a moment because I hear a bunch of stuff coming, yeah. And in this case, it might actually be better to stay on our little zip line.
Make every bullet cut you!
Maybe. Oh, whoops. I had Bosco mine the egg. Alright, Bosco, drop that. Okay. We're just going to be taking out all of these immediate threats. We got a big guy here. Now these oppressors you can actually kill pretty quickly with melee. And that's going to be kind of what I'm trying to do, although I will need to sort of set this up ahead of time. Attacking enemies like these oppressors from the front doesn't really make any sense. We want to get behind them. Try to hit them in the back as much as we can. Either with our guns or with our pickaxe. Like I said, pickaxe does do a lot of damage to them, so if you can hit them with that, that's great too. And we do got one of our eggs here, so that's handy. Where did I call? Okay, I called in the resupply over there. Use your terrain scanner too to figure out where people are, where important objectives are, and to ping certain things. Especially if you're playing like Scout, you want your engineer to be putting up platforms for you so that you can go and get like more nitra and stuff for the team.
Secondary objective completed. Make it home to collect your bonus.
Okay, let's see. That takes care of one of our eggs. We've got another one. It's also right over there. Like I said, not really interested in doing this. This is probably the hardest event too. So, not a fun one to be doing solo. Plus, I don't have any blank matrices right now, so it's only really for experience. There's a little tip, though. If you don't feel like you can complete the event or anything, save it till the very end, start the event, and then just leave. You will get extra money and extra XP from doing that. And we gotta wait for the hordes to come.
Incoming! Smoke him if you got him.
Sounds like they're coming from over there. Alright. This is also kind of useful that we have volatile guts here too, which is why all the bugs are exploding. This is just a passive that can be on missions, and it's a positive for you, since every time you kill a bug it explodes and deals damage to nearby enemies. It's not as much as some Overclocks will do to other enemies, but it's a nice little bonus. Ow. We need to get rid of the range things right away. Range things are usually the most dangerous in this game. Especially for certain classes like Driller, where you don't have great options for taking care of them. But with somebody like Gunner, we have pretty good options for taking out pretty much everything. Our minigun works very well against most enemies. Revolver does too.
Weight is significantly diminished. Well done.
Of course, use the pickaxe whenever there's enemies that are getting a little bit too close to us. Let's grab all this while we're going. There we go. Oh, there's still some more stuff in here. Always look around before you go and get something, especially if there was just a horde. Alright, we'll put that there. We've got our secondary. Let's get our battery. Alright. Yeah, we got all our stuff, and we got... What do we get? Neon Band. Fantastic, I don't have that one. Well, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't give me it. Alright, get rid of this horde. Oh. Thanks for announcing yourself, Victorian. I appreciate that.
I'll never get the smell out of my arm. Ollie!
Oh, alright.
This is friggin'
Put all this away first. And then let's call in the pod. See where the pod is going to land. Pod's over there. So it's probably up here, since that's further away than this little hole that we were in. So let's go towards that. I understand that this part can also be kind of...
Returning to LZ.
Did it?
Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Okay. Never mind. I understand that this part can also be a little bit intimidating for new players. The exit. Which is fair, because sometimes you get really bad spots to where the pod can spawn.
Go Crusher!
In this case, I don't think we got that bad of a spot. I haven't seen it yet, but can't imagine it being too bad. Go this way. You can check out your terrain scanner, which is a 3-dimensional thing. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's not too bad. Let's grab all this before we go. And looks like we're pretty good to go.
That's one for the books.
You can follow Molly. She'll lead you there, although Molly goes in the straightest line for her, not for you, so she can climb up walls and go through holes and all sorts of stuff that's going to be real difficult for you to do unless you're playing like Scout or Driller. Driller's going to be the easier one too, where you just see where the objective is and just drill right to it. Both of those are pretty good options. Engineer and Gunner, pay attention to the mini-map and kind of see where you are. The closer you are to it, it's probably going to be easier to get there. And hopefully that helps you out a little bit. So this went really well. We didn't have any downs. Didn't have tons of kills, but we had an okay amount of kills. So minigun and the revolver proving to be pretty strong even without overclocks. We didn't need any overclocks on them at all. The overclocks do certainly help. They do make the weapon usually stronger, and when you're building for overclocks, you want to build to their strength. I will probably be doing updated guides about the builds for the overclocks, but there is some videos out on the channel too that you can check out if you're struggling to find a build that you might want to use. After this, we're going to be looking at the other classes too and their starting equipment. We're also going to do this on Has5. Tell me what you thought about this. Tell me if it helped you out and what you would like to see in the future. I would like to hear all of that. Thank you so very much for watching this. I really do appreciate it. And special thanks to the supporters of this channel. These are my members over here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. They get early access to videos like this. And if you would like to be a part of that, there are links down in the description. Thanks. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.